Hi, I'm Maggie. Welcome to Experiments in Crafting. Today I'm going to show you how to put a double chain arch edging on your project. I'm going to be adding this edging to a baby blanket, but you can use it for any project that you can single crochet all the way around. If you'd like to make this blanket, I have a tutorial on the interlocking shell stitch on the channel. I used Premier DK Colors for this blanket and for the edging. DK Colors is a color changing yarn. And one of the challenges of working with a color changing yarn when you use it for a border is that if you use a stitch that eats up a whole lot of yarn in each round, something like a shell stitch, you're going to go through your color changes really quickly. And so you'll start out making your border in one color and it'll rapidly go through the color changes so that the border is changing color, which you may or may not want. This border uses relatively little yarn per round, so you don't go through your color changes quite as quickly. I was able to work the entire first round in basically one color change, and then as I got back to the beginning, the second color change happened, and I was able to work most of the rest of the round in that color. Um, this gives the blanket an effect where it looks like I changed colors and looks like it's two-tone, which is kind of a really nice look for this blanket. If you're not going to be using a striping yarn, that's okay. You can do this entire border in one color, or if you'd like to do it in two different colors, I'll explain when to switch yarns. Okay, to get started, I have single crocheted all the way around my blanket. It really doesn't matter what pattern you're using as far as the blanket pattern goes when you're doing this border. So all you need to do is single crochet evenly all the way around. I did this by single crocheting one into every single crochet and chain around my blanket, and I put two single crochets everywhere that I had a double crochet along my edges. And so you just start at one side and you work all the way around, and when you get back to the beginning, you just slip stitch to your first single crochet. I worked 3 single crochets into every corner. You'll just have to sort of use your best judgment, depending on how your pattern is worked up, what looks the nicest around the corners. But I find that 3 single crochets rounds the corner very nicely. To begin the next round, you're going to chain 1, single crochet into the stitch that you slip stitched into. Then you're going to chain 5, skip 2 single crochets, and single crochet into the third single crochet from your hook. Then you're just going to repeat this all the way around. This row is very easy. It's chain 5, skip 2 single crochets, and single crochet into the third stitch from the hook. And again, you just need to continue this all the way around the blanket. And when you get back to the very first single crochet, you're just going to slip stitch, and I will show you how to do the next round. All right, I've made it back around to the beginning, and I have 3 stitches left. So I've chained 5, and I'm going to skip 2 and single crochet into the third one from the stitch. And then I'm going to chain 5 again. And normally when you finish off a round, you want to slip stitch to the first stitch from the beginning of the round. So normally you would slip stitch to this first single crochet right here. I'm not going to do that for this pattern. I'm actually going to go and tip this arch forward and single crochet into the second single crochet from the row of single crochets. So it's the first stitch that I skipped here, or the second single crochet from the first round. I'm going to single crochet into that by tipping that arch forward and then single crocheting. And what that does is it takes this last loop right here and tucks it sort of behind this one here. One of the things that I should note is that you might not have 2 stitches to skip over here. So I'm going to pull this out and show you one more time here. So I lucked out and I had 2 to skip and then a third stitch right here. You might have a weird number here. You might only have 2, and so you'd you'd only skip one. You might have four, and so you'd have to skip over three. That's fine. You can fudge this a little bit because this is a pretty forgiving pattern. These arches will stretch to make up for a little bit of weirdness here. So whatever you've got here, just aim to get your last single crochet into a stitch close to the corner, but not into the first single crochet. So I'm going to redo this again. So I'm going to single crochet, then chain 5, and I'll show you how to do that stitch. One of the options for this pattern is also that at this point you can switch colors if you like. So what you can do here is instead of single crocheting into the stitch, you could slip stitch and bind off, and then go ahead and just attach a new color, and you can continue around with a second color. Because I'm using a color changing yarn, it's actually changed colors on me on my way around here. So I started with a really light blue, and I've got a little bit of a brighter blue for my next round. So if you're not using a color changing yarn at this point, you could switch colors if you like to do this pattern in 2 different colors. All right, so again, I'm going to show you one more time. I've got that single crochet or the chain 5. I'm going to tip the arch forward and single crochet into the stitch behind it. Now what I'm going to do is draw my loop up just a little bit, take my hook out, and then put it under the arch and catch this loop and bring it in front of the arch. So now I'm working on this side of the arch. And then I'm going to go ahead and chain 5 again. I'm going to tip the next arch forward, single crochet into the first available single crochet, drop a little bit of a loop, and bring that loop under, put my hook back in, snug it back up, and chain 5. Again, tip the arch forward, single crochet into the first available single crochet, pull the loop up just a little bit, insert your hook under the arch and draw that loop forward, and single crochet 5. So you got to put your hook back in the loop, snug it up, and single crochet 5. And what that does is make sort of a interlocking double arch. So the arches are sort of twisting together and making kind of a cool braid here. It's what it's doing is it's really taking up some of the space here, so you don't have these big looping arches on the side. One of the concerns that comes up with baby blanket patterns is that baby's fingers fit in here. And so what we're doing is we're kind of binding up some of that space by running another layer of arches through here. So all you need to do is continue that all the way around, and when I get to the end, I'll come back and show you how to finish that off. Okay, to make the very last stitch, I've single crocheted underneath the arch, and I've drawn that loop around. I've chained 5, and I'm ready to make my very last stitch. This time I'm going to, again, flip the arch from the last row forward, and this is where I'm going to slip stitch into my very first single crochet from the first row of arches, and that will complete the pattern. So again, I'm going to tip this forward, insert my hook, drop a loop, and draw it through, and then I'm going to chain 1 and snip my yarn and draw it through. Okay, so I'm going to draw it through, and then all you need to do is snug that nice and tight, and then you'll have to sew in this tail and the tail from where you attached your yarn for doing your first row of single crochets around this border. And that's all there is to this border. If you have any trouble with the pattern, leave your questions in the comment section below and I'll try and help you out. If you make anything using this border, I'd love to see it. Share it with me on Instagram or Facebook at Experiments in Crafting. If you like this video and you'd like to see more like it, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. If you are subscribed to the channel and you don't seem to be getting notifications, make sure that you've clicked the bell and chosen all. It seems that a lot of people are not getting all of the notifications that they'd like to see. So just make sure that you've hit that, and you should be getting all the updates on anything that gets posted to the channel. Thanks for watching.